Just this morning when I saw on Twitter this particular comment by KRA telling people that anything that they come with from outside the country that is worth $500 and above will be subjected to tax. Well, they later deleted that particular tweet, but here are my thoughts. First of all, the Kenya Revenue Authority, there was a proposal, by the way, for it to be changed to Kenya Revenue Service because they felt at that time that calling it authority was a bit high-minded and they looked down on taxpayers. Well, here's a lesson for you, KRA. The people that you are collecting tax from are actually your bosses. These are the people who have made sure that you have a job to do. This is why I say this. Everyone at KRA is working on behalf of the government, and the government is for the people and by the people, which means that as an organ of the government, you are supposed to be serving the interests of the citizens. Now, placing a tweet like this is careless, and I don't know how many meetings this went through in order for it to be approved, first to go to the public. But the problem I have with it is that I think it was just placed so that there is public outrage. That for me is the saddest bit about something like this, because it is clear that there is a law that anything being imported, especially for the sake of business, is subjected to an import tax. It's another story about how high our taxes are. And sometimes, even for myself, sometimes I may even get a gift and the value of that gift is less than the taxes I have to pay for that particular gift. And I'm not alone on that particular state. The taxes that we pay, import duty and VAT, and sometimes I ask myself, why am I being charged VAT for something that the government did not add any value from? This is something that has come from outside and has come into the country. Why am I paying import at 35% or at 25% and then an excise duty on top of that? And then something that is worth 50 euros is going to cost 6,000 shillings. So then any item that comes in, there is a perceived value. And then speaking of perceived value, it's even worse if you don't have a receipt showing the actual cost to the manufacturer or the place where that thing was purchased from outside the country. There is someone at customs who will sit and have what is known as a retail price list, and they will determine what the value of that item is. So then it is possible that the cost it took you to get something from another country and it gets here, the taxes on that particular item will be more than that item. That simply does not make sense. And then so many people have had to leave their items at the airport or have to leave their item at the customs office because they cannot afford to pay the taxes that they are being asked for. Because again, the education to actually know that if I bring in a gift, I have to pay taxes on it. Wait, wherever I bought it from, I already pay tax on it. Why again am I paying a second tax when it comes into this country? That simply does not make sense. Why should you be taxed twice on an item? And for so many of these items, they are gift items. Why is it that when I'm bringing someone a gift, I'm actually paying taxes to the government. Make that make sense. For the people who are doing business of importation, the taxes have also been increased. And I've talked about the Laffer curve before, where apparently this is something that KRA economists also need to understand. The more taxes you add, the less revenue you are going to get, because human beings will always try and find a way either of circumventing the system, which I do not advocate for, or secondly, they will stop doing that trade altogether, because it then does not make sense to be paying the same amount of taxes as the item that you are bringing in. It makes no economic sense. Then if I bring something into the country and I want to sell it, so I bought it for X, and the taxes cost as much as the product itself. So by the time I am bringing and stocking it in my shop, it is already twice the cost that someone would have bought it in a foreign country. And then I still have to add my own markup. And if it stays on the shelf, I'm the one who's going to go at a loss. Because once that item has come in, KRA does not care whether I sell it or not. They have already made their money. And so for me, as a trader in the country, I'm holding an item which my customer can clearly see outside the country costs 50,000, and they're asking, why am I selling it at 130,000? Not understanding that there's another 50,000 part of this cost that was already duties that were collected by the government. This is going to drive so many businesses out of commission, and so many businesses will close because all these bad laws that are being enforced by KRA, that are being endorsed by the executive, are driving businesses out. We need our businesses to be able to survive, because so many Kenyans are depending on small businesses in order to be able to survive, because anyway, no one is employing right now. So people have to start businesses in order to cater for themselves. But then they get into a business environment that does not even encourage them to have a business, because anytime you try and start a business, KRA is there knocking on your door. And what do they want? They want to tax you from A to Z. This is what I usually say. Lower the rate of tax and you will increase the tax revenue. That is something for you to think about.